This is actually a dope, dynamic, amazing conversation, and I'm so glad that I got to have with these two giants in their fields. But I felt like I didn't answer the question very well when they asked me, what can we do to support you and to help you with the things that you are doing and with your work? Hey everybody, this is Shontavia from Shontavia.com, and you're in the right place if you want to be inspired to build the brand and business you were made for. So I got a really hard question last week. I was recording a podcast episode for this show called Here to Slay, which is hosted or co-hosted really by Roxane and Tressie McMillan Cottom. And at the end of the show, one of the questions that they like to ask is what they can do to support their guest. And so they asked me that question. What can they do to support me? What were the things they could do to help me? And I actually don't think I gave a great answer to that question. And I have been thinking about it a lot since then. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where, like 5 minutes after you leave a conversation, you think, oh, this is what I should have said in response to the answer to a question. That happens to me a lot. I will turn it over in my head so many times, especially if it's like an argument or something. So this wasn't an argument. This is actually a dope, dynamic, amazing conversation. And I'm so glad that I got to have with these two giants in their fields. But I felt like I didn't answer the question very well when they asked me, what can we do to support you and to help you with the things that you are doing and with your work? And I wanted to do a video about this, especially for entrepreneurs and people who are selling products or services, who have businesses. Because even though this may not be a question you get a lot, the what can I do to help you question, when you do get that question, particularly on a large platform, kind of like Here to Slay. Here to Slay is a very large platform. Tressie and Roxane are very well-known, amazing scholars and writers and teachers and creators in their fields. And I didn't take great advantage of that opportunity to answer the question the right way. So when you get that question, you want to make sure you've got a great answer to that question of what can I do to help you? What can I do to support you? And I think in some areas of our lives, we might get this question more frequently than we do in business. So, like if you're ever in a situation where something bad has happened or something tragic, people always ask, what can I do to help you? It doesn't happen as much in business, but in life it does. And I actually don't think oftentimes we know how to answer that question, period. Just like, what can I do to help and support you? But I wanted to answer this question specifically for entrepreneurs and business owners, because I want you to be ready when you get that question. And so I came up with 5 different things I think you need to ask for if someone says, what can I do to help you? So the first thing, if someone says, what can I do to help you? What can I do to support you? And you actually are a business owner with products or services to sell, or a creator who's created something that they are selling, or an author who's created something that you're selling, written a book or something that you're selling. I think you should ask people to support you by buying your product or service, right? If you have a business, if you are running a business, then the way that that business stays alive is by sales. And sometimes we can feel a little funny about asking for the sale, but I think if you're going to be in business and someone asks you, what can I do to help you or support you? Almost all the time, it is appropriate when someone asks to say, why don't you buy my product or service? So I think that's one thing that is pretty low-hanging fruit. That's the easy thing when someone asks what they can do to help you or support you. So that's number 1. Buy from me. Number 2, if someone asks you, how can I help you? How can I support your business? The second thing that I recommend you asking for is follow me, support me online. And that obviously depends on a lot of different factors, but many of us who are business owners or creators, the larger your following is, oftentimes if you're using your social media for marketing, it is helpful to have people following your work. So obviously, the more followers you have on platforms, the more you can monetize that. Sometimes it's based on who you're actually selling to. So you don't want artificial followers, obviously, maybe on like Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. On YouTube, the more followers you have, that really means the more you can monetize your channel in a lot of different ways. But having followers can be important on social platforms because oftentimes it is social proof. It is proof to potential collaborators that you have something people want to hear about. And that's not to say if you don't have a large following that you shouldn't continue down the path. I'm just saying if someone asks you how they can support you, how they can help you, ask them to follow you online. And that really leads to the third point, and another reason why, when you get this question, it's so important to have a good, succinct answer. If they're already following you, then maybe the third thing you can ask for is that they amplify your work on their own social channels. So if someone is asking you how they can help you, how they can support you, they likely have an audience that you don't have on social media, right? If you're online and you're marketing online, there may be people who follow you both. You may be in similar fields or different fields, but if that person has a different community from you, different followers from you, different people who may be interested in your work once they find out about you, it's helpful that they follow you so that they can share your work and amplify your work. So ask them if they're going to follow you to amplify your work on their own channels and their own platforms. Like imagine if, I've noticed Cardi B recently, as she released her new single WAP, she is retweeting a lot of her fans, and she does this pretty frequently anyway, but she's retweeting a lot of her fans who are talking about her single, which is great for her because it's social proof that people are talking about the song and that kind of thing. But it is also great for those fans who've been retweeted, because inevitably there are going to be a few people who know Cardi, who follow Cardi, who may click around on that person's Twitter account and end up following them too. So I'm not saying ask for follows and shares for hollow reasons, but when you find a partner who is willing to support you in some way and who's willing to share your work, then I think it's okay to ask them to help you amplify your message. And so those first three things, buy from me, follow me, amplify me, I think are three things you can ask for as an entrepreneur or business person when someone asks you how they can support your work. So I've got two more things that I think you can ask for as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. But before I do that, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you like this video. I post information like this nearly every day, and I want to make sure that I'm sharing useful tools and strategies with you on a frequent basis so that you can grow that business that you want to grow, so that you can build that dynamic brand that you want to build. So the fourth thing you can ask for if someone says, how can I support you and how can I support your work? You can ask for them to leave you a positive review wherever you collect social proof. So that might be on social. It might be, someone saying, hey, such and such is great, on their Twitter page where they have, 500,000 followers. But it might be that such and such has written an amazing book, and that person can leave you a review on Amazon or Goodreads or whatever. So notice that this number 4, this fourth principle, is that they leave you a positive review to give you social proof, but they can't do that if you haven't asked for those first things, right? Especially the number 1 thing, which is buy from me. So the only way they can leave a review, particularly a truthful review, is if they actually buy from you. So that's the fourth thing I think you can ask for. You can ask for a person to leave you a review wherever you are collecting social proof. And again, that might be social media, it might be on your website, it might be on Amazon, it might be on Goodreads, but at any rate, ask for that social proof. Ask them to leave you a review if they're going to ask you that question. And so the fifth thing you can ask for is that a person tell your collaborators how much they love you. And so by this I mean, if you are partnering with I don't know, some brand, right? And that brand allows you to take over their Instagram account. Then one of the ways that that brand knows that your brand has staying power is that other people are telling them that. And so it's great if someone asks, how can I support your work? For you to say, tell my collaborator how much you love me. Tell Fortune magazine that article I wrote a couple of weeks ago was the reason I decided to subscribe to Forbes magazine. Or tell Facebook when they invited you to do that virtual talk how great it was, right? And so that's the fifth thing I think you can ask for. You can ask a person to let your collaborators know how much they love you. So I know this is tough, right? To actually answer the question, how can I help you? A lot of times we say, oh, we don't need anything, or your support is help enough, or whatever. But I think as an entrepreneur, you have to be really clear on asking for the things that you want. I know this is hard, especially for women, for people of color, especially Black women. We aren't used to that, to asking for help or to actually answering truthfully the question of what can I do to help you. But I do believe these 5 things are things you should consider asking for if someone says how I can help you. So first, will you buy from me? Second, will you follow me? 3, will you amplify my work? 4th, will you review my work? Will you leave me social proof, a positive review? And 5th, will you tell my collaborators how much you love me? So I think those 5 things are a great starting place for entrepreneurs. When you get that question, you can answer that question better than I did when I was on the podcast a few weeks ago. If you like this video, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I post videos like this every day with quick tips and suggestions for how you can build the brand and business you were made for. Thanks.